say you're fine, but I can see right through. You're holding your secrets for way too long. This can't keep going on. With every lie, they keep on hurting you, getting away with everything they do. This can't keep going on. No, we're gonna find them, and I'm gonna fight for you. They better start hiding. We'll be running with the lions, lions. We'll be running with the lions, lions. They can't run, they can't hide. We won't stop until they're down. We'll be running with the lions, lions.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday, May 4th. So I guess May the 4th be with you. And I guess tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. It's funny how these dates just creep up on me. I don't even pay attention anymore until the show comes on and I realize what date it is. But I am so happy to have you guys here today. For those of you who are new, this is Gloves Off, and it's more than just a show. It's actually a platform for bold truth, fierce clarity, and really for people who are kind of tired of playing small and ready to live their best life. And often that happens through big transformations. And today's guest has done just that. Today, I'm interviewing Sara Goldstein, and she is the founder of Bake Love to Me. Isn't that the cutest name? So she had her own demons to battle. And during the battling of those demons, of course, there was a transformation that was birthed. So we're going to get into that later. But I wanted to, of course, introduce one of my new sponsors, and his name is Jeremy Meineke. And with lifting something lighter, but well, he absolutely does not let me, which is fine because I'm getting really, really strong, which is awesome. So I think we all have some limiting beliefs. You know, women, I think we can't do certain things. And even though I don't have a lot of that, I was actually surprised at how much I could lift and how strong I got so quickly. The other nice thing is that I don't even have to worry about what I need to eat because he gives me my diet plan and I just follow it. So things are moving along great. So I had that QR code up. So actually, let me put it up on there. Well, I think I felt like I All right. And also going to introduce my other sponsor, Elevated CPA. Tax season has finally finished, but guess what? There's another one next year. So if you don't have an accountant and you're a small business owner, you may want to consider outsourcing that annoying task. All right. Well, I hope you guys could hear me when I switched screens over to the QR code, but so I just got a message saying that you couldn't. So if you couldn't hear me, I apologize. But anyway, I'm excited to get Sara Goldstein on here today. So I met her probably just a few weeks ago, and I have to say it's really cool because one of the things that she had on her bio really, really resonated with me. She said that carbs aren't the enemy. Shame is. And I have to tell you, I say those things all the time because it's often not the actual thing, it's our relationship with the thing that's the problem. And so she was sitting at a crossroads in her life where she had gained about 80 pounds and was having issues with her health. And that's when she decided to make a change. And she started the change with sourdough bread. And I don't even know if I understand how that transpired, but we're going to get into that. And lost 80 pounds. Now, frankly, I was really just curious as to how she lost 80 pounds eating sourdough bread because I'd like to know that and just eat sourdough bread all the time because I love it. No, in all seriousness, I just am excited to really get into this with her and see what her story holds. So let's bring her on, Sara Goldstein. Hello, welcome to Gloves Off, Sara. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Well, I am so excited to have you here because, first of all, I don't know how anybody could bake delicious things and, well, frankly, not eat them all because I would. I think I've told you that on many occasions.
Yeah.
I've really just asked for scraps on anything you bake.
I did just the other day. I texted you that I would save you cake scraps.
I really am. I don't need the whole cake, just scraps. But so tell us about your journey. To me, this is just amazing how this all transpired because it's an interesting and yet an unusual story that baking led to your weight loss, not weight gain.
I know. Well, I guess let me start with, I feel that in this country, a lot of the foods on our shelves, well, it's true. We have a lot of preservatives. We have a lot of things in our breads, I like to stick to the outer aisle, the fruits, the vegetables, it's safest. But about in 2020, actually 2019, I woke up and I looked down and I had gained 80 pounds and I had recently had a biopsy. They told me my kidneys were failing, and that I was going to need a kidney soon. And my cholesterol was so high, they wanted to put me on statins. And I was in my early 30s at the time. And I mean, the list goes on and on. My ailments were just bananas. And I was sitting there and how did I end up like this? And then my whole life I've been baking and cooking. And at the time I looked at what I was baking and cooking and it was not the best. I mean, it was a lot of margarine, a lot of light mayonnaise, things that honestly people eat thinking it's better for them. Diet soda. I was drinking a 12-pack of diet soda every day. So I stepped back and I did an elimination diet. And part of that elimination diet, I hate to say it. I know the pandemic was horrible, but for me, having all these foods unavailable, I was forced to make it all myself. So that's kind of how this all came to be. And then yeast was hard to find. So I thought, let's go down the sourdough rabbit hole with everyone else. So honestly, that's how this transpired. But once I started eating sourdough and once I started making the bagel sourdough and the pizza sourdough and the pasta sourdough, and quite frankly, eating everything that I made and really I cut out McDonald's and all the fast foods, not to, but it was.
I totally agree with you. I don't eat any of that stuff. I mean, at all.
Like no more soda, not diet, not any, it's all. And honestly, it really, my body thrived. When I tried not eating any carbs, I was tired all the time. I felt it didn't work for me. If I eat a store-bought English muffin, though, I look pregnant. I think it's a gluten intolerance that we have, but sourdough seems to help me with that. And then when I really started researching it and reading the books and the essays and the the research out there, it has probiotics. It's like eating the yogurt without the sugar that is in half our yogurts. So it's like if you have a slice of sourdough and an egg in the morning, that's a pretty balanced, I mean, a little more protein, but it's a little fruit. But that's
what's in sourdough that provides the probiotics?
so it's a living yeast that's on my
That's
counter.
what I was
Like,
thinking.
yeah. So I literally feed it. I used to call it a her. Her name is Sandra.
I saw that and I didn't understand what that even meant.
I started teaching sourdough lessons to people, and a lot of people were getting creeped out when I was referring to this as a her. So I've learned to call it an it. One client that named it Sara after me, and this is when I realized it might be a little weird because they texted me and they were like, "So Sarah's in the trunk. Do you think she'll be safe there for a while?" And I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh my god! Oh my god, that's hilarious. You're like, who's Sarah? Why is she in the trunk?
Luckily, I knew, but I was like, "Oh, if they look at my phone for any reason."
You're like, she's fine in the trunk for at least a week, and next thing you know, they're knocking in the
Once
door.
she starts smelling, you might want.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. So that actually makes sense,
Yeah.
the yeast and I mean, I'm excited now because I'm like, I stay away from any kind of pre-made carbs and stuff. I mean, when I eat carbs, it's either, rice is fine. Basmati rice works great for me. Those I will eat rice, sweet potatoes, and like, good carbs, but not junky things. And I don't bake. So, well, thank God you do. So I can get some sourdough from you because I love sourdough.
Yeah. No, I've got a bread rising on the counter right now in the
Perfect. Oh, this is fabulous. Well, because to be honest with you, really, you don't know what people, even the great bakers and all that. I will say when I eat bread from some of these great bakeries around town, I don't really have as many problems, but but if I buy something, in the store that's just, made for mass consumption, I definitely do have problems. And again, it's like you said, you look down, you feel like you're bloated, you feel like you're pregnant. It doesn't take long to figure out that your gut is not working properly. And yet, when you go to Europe, none of that happens. I eat all the pasta, all the bread, all the desserts I want, and nothing really happens.
But I'm always saying I am currently bringing a more European style of eating to the States. Because when I learned sourdough, I did learn that in Europe, a lot of people do cook or use more sourdough than, apparently it's like a thing for, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a thing for Italian grandmas to have their like sourdough starter under their beds because it's the warmest in the winter because it's the warmest room in the house. And I was like, okay, so we all mother them. It's not just
yeah. And you just gave yours a name, and that's okay.
A lot of people do. It's just
that's so cute. So how long does it need to stay there to like start or whatever?
So I feed her every day, but I bake with her almost every day. If I'm going to go somewhere for a while, I will put her in the fridge. I'll package her properly and put her in the fridge for up to a week or two. Otherwise, I'd hire a babysitter or find someone to properly feed her. They have sourdough hotels. I haven't had to use one, but people have sent me information about them over the years where you can bring for if you go somewhere for a while. I actually had a text message from a client just this last week asking me to babysit his sourdough for 2 months while he goes away to Europe with his wife.
Well, I don't understand. So if you have the sourdough, don't you bake it and eat it? So why is there always sourdough that needs to be babysat?
Because, okay, so if you baked it and ate it all, making a new starter as someone who has done it successfully only once, it was the second time I've tried. I haven't tried it again, but it's hard to create life from flour and water. And that's what it is. You have to get temperatures right. There's a process to make that starter. That's why when I teach lessons or if people request it, I sometimes sell my starter. It's been a thing. I'd like to make sure everyone has access to sourdough because a lot of people, that first step is the hardest step.
I had no idea. This is like a
Yeah.
whole world of things I didn't know. I'm like, I don't understand why it needs to be babysat because I'd have eaten it all and it'd be in my stomach.
Yeah, no, it's literally bubbling away. Like, I wish
Wow.
I had it here to show you. I'll send you a video after this, but
Okay, that's cool.
and then you know it needs to be fed because the bubbling stops. But if you give it a little jostle, all these bubbles pop on the top.
And what does it need to be fed with?
I feed mine with whole wheat flour, AP flour, and water, but not water from the tap. She's bougie. She
Oh,
likes bottled water.
very cool. Okay. I had no idea about this. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So now it makes sense why there would be amazing organisms that are probiotics in this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
and they have starters. You can buy starters that are 100 years old. They found a starter, and it was either an Egyptian or a Roman pot. I can't remember which, from, way back when it was hardened, and they brought it to life, and they made freaking bread with it. What? I know.
That's really cool.
I know.
Well, and then also we were talking the other day about just desserts and how you don't use white sugar and all of that. So in what ways are your desserts even different? And by the way, I've had her desserts. I've had some cupcakes and cake tops and they're delicious. This is why I beg for some kind of cake scraps.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, I quit eating white sugar a few years ago, but I still had a sweet tooth. And so let me back up just briefly. I
Mhm.
got diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS. I don't know if you've heard of it,
Mhm.
back in 2019. And that's also one of the things that started. That was one of the other, I said the laundry list of things and I've learned that white sugar triggers that. White sugar stops my period. White sugar is
Okay.
my body and we don't get along. And that's why a lot of store-bought breads, all that stuff, it has a lot of white sugar. It turns to sugar in your gut. It's not digested the same way. I
Mhm.
try and stick with all organic flours, all of that. So anyway, my whole dessert thing is I still like desserts. The girl still wants chocolate cake. So I have discovered that coconut sugar, agave, honey, just baking for myself, I learned how to use all these beautiful, more natural ingredients that my body thrives off of. And I thought, well, everyone should have access to this. One of my best friends was diabetic, and I figured out whole wheat and the right sugars for him. And then I have another good friend who's vegan. So, I figure out the right butters and the right cream cheeses, because there are really good vegan products out there now. We're
Mhm.
really blessed to live in a day like this. We've got amazing egg substitutes, all of it. Like, just
Right.
the science. I don't even have to come up with it anymore. I just have to look into it. So, it's beautiful. So my whole thing is that everyone should be able to sit down to a birthday cake and really freaking enjoy it. It shouldn't taste vegan. It shouldn't taste gluten-free, because there's all these horrible misconceptions that all this stuff doesn't taste good, that if you're diabetic, you're going to suffer with your cake. And if you're
Mhm.
whatever, but that's not true. So that's where I come in.
I love that. I love that because it's so true, because I love dessert, and it's nice to eat things that are healthy, and you really can taste the difference when it's made with better ingredients.
Yeah.
And
And
I was
healthy is
thinking,
relative. You said healthy. I just want to say there are
true,
calories, there is fat. Like, I'm not against those things. Some people can't, like, this won't work for everyone. Healthy is a
100%.
relative. I argue with people all the time that whole ingredients are really important, that you should eat the real butter, that you should get the Kerrygold butter, that you should get the good cream, that you should always stick with organic, and yada, yada, yada. So some people tell me that that's not healthy, but for me, my body thrives on it. And everyone else that I've seen do things like this usually do too. But
Well, the reality is, I don't think anybody gives up sugar 100%. I mean, you do get some cravings. It is enjoyable, and just choose the way that you choose to do it, and either in real moderation or, enjoy something that has more wholesome ingredients in it that
yeah,
hopefully won't mess up your body. Well, again, I always use the contrast between the way desserts are made in Europe versus here. I don't eat 90% of the things that I do eat in Europe, I will not eat here. I just don't eat it
me
because
too.
A, it doesn't even taste good, in my opinion, and B, it's just made with crappy ingredients most of the
Yeah.
time. So I'm very selective about what I will put in my mouth, and I think everybody should be,
Yeah.
honestly. So
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference. So when did you decide to do this as a business? I mean, obviously you were seeing the health benefits, so obviously there was a point where you thought, wait, this is what I want to do in my life.
Yeah, well, it's funny. So I was a recruiter and office manager for a mortgage office in La Jolla for a couple years. And last September, well, not last, it's been coming up on 2 years. It's funny how time goes, but
Yeah.
I got laid off with a few hundred other people. And I woke up the next day and it was like, I don't want a boss. I'm ready to do this. I took the severance that they gave me and I started the trademark thing and I started the LLC and I put it all into starting something. And then I didn't know I was going to bring what I like to everyone at first. So like my first jobs with my business, I was selling breads to a few restaurants in North Parks and some pastries here and there. And I was doing the 3 a.m. mornings, making lobster roll buns and hamburger brioche buns. And I was using sugar and white flour and, everything that I don't really eat. And I sat down after a few months of that and realized that I was not making the money that I was ever going to want to make doing that. And I wasn't being my own boss. I still felt like other people were ruling me. So I actually went to, I'm lucky my family has a house in Martha's Vineyard. And I went and I spent 2 months, February and March, so not nice months, snowed into our home by myself on the island, going back to square one. What do I want to do with my business? Where do I want this to go? And I spent hours and hours writing a 60-page business plan. And I know it was too long. My mentor told me it was too long.
Wow, that's really long.
It's like, I'm impressed, but we need to cut this down.
Like, nice work, but yeah, it didn't need to be this long.
I was thorough.
Yeah, very thorough. Okay.
And I did a lot of recipe development. I learned how to, I made like these 6 or 7 different sourdough cookies that I now do at open houses and things. And it was a really good time. And when I got back, like for my business, and when I got back to San Diego, it was more, okay, people want what I do. Like I have a gift. Not everyone can do the vegan. Not everyone can do the gluten-free. Like I assume that if you can bake a cake, you can do it anyway, but you can't. I'm really lucky. I have a gift. So I'm going to share the healthier way of eating with the world. And honestly, once I decided to do that, things have been falling into place more and more and more. So yeah.
What's funny is that actually reminded me of a story. So when I first got married, I was, I don't know, 25, 26, something like that. And, I don't know, I guess I was nesting, so I wanted to bake these cakes, but I didn't want to bake cakes that were not healthy. So this was back in 1995 or 1996. So we didn't even have a lot of healthy options, I don't think, like we do now. So anyway, I don't know where I got these recipes from, but some sort of health kind of magazine. And I just decided I'm baking cakes, right? So I bake a cake and then a couple of weeks later I bake a cake. But I noticed that my ex-husband, who loves sweets, wasn't eating the cakes. So, I mean, he'd eat a slice, maybe 2, but he loves dessert. So, I expected it'd be gone, but
Yeah.
I was just throwing them away. Finally, I think about the 3rd cake I started to try to bake, and he says to me, he goes, "So, do you think you could just not bake any more cakes?" Clearly, they weren't that delicious.
Were you eating them?
I don't remember. I think so, but I never had a big sweet tooth, so I would be fine with something, a slice or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't think they were terrible, but apparently he did. So anyway, the cake stopped.
That's so funny. Well, if you ever want to try again, I'm happy to.
I may have to. Yeah. I just can't let that be my legacy that I can't do it. Right. I don't know.
Bake something.
Try it again 30 years later. Right. And see how I do. But it was just funny. It just made me remember that story. So what has transpired then with your business over well, actually, when did it actually launch?
So, uh, funny enough, I got back from my trip to the island. I say things lined up, and they did, but I broke my back,
Oh.
and it was so bad that I needed pretty serious surgery, and a lot of other things were going on at that. Yada yada yada. I had surgery about 9 months ago now, and on the 3 month mark, which was December, they told me I could really get back into work and, move forward. So I had been doing, honestly, very much a lot of networking. I had just been doing up until then. It had been a lot of networking, and then recovery. And then I remember my first networking event after surgery. I had the back brace on. I was like, no, I'm going. I need to.
Wow.
And I made a lot of connections at that one that have actually, I'm still, making. But so once I was able to get back out there, I had lessons lined up already, and I started teaching how to make sourdough bread. I teach people how to teach sourdough pasta, sourdough bagels. There was one woman and her kids. We did a brunch thing one Sunday where while the bagels were rising, I taught them cream cheese and butter, and then they had this beautiful spread when I left. And it's a lot of dinner parties. So I'll go in and there'll be 3, 4, 5 couples, and I'll teach them. This was where I was just a few months ago, honestly. And then people started asking me to just cook for them. Can you make me this food? I want you to come in when I'm having my dinner party, and I don't want to help. So then it kind of transformed into a private chef thing. So now I'm doing a lot. I feel that's kind of nourishing my soul. I like teaching people, and I'm starting a TV show after you, where I teach people how to bake, where I interview people and we make their favorite foods. And during that, I'm like, well, that's how I'm going to teach people now. That's how people will learn from me. But it feels really good to just go into people's homes and feed them and watch them light up as they eat this food, and they know, and that it's whole wheat sourdough pasta, or that it's, organic salmon, or that it's organic chicken, or whatever they know that what they're eating, what they're feeding their guests is great. And I just keep hearing it's so amazing that I'm not in the kitchen missing all the fun right now. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, unless you are just somebody that absolutely loves to do it, it's really not fun. I mean, for unless you're one of the people who clearly does. I know that it's not for you, but it's fun for you. But I feel what your clients feel. I mean, to me, none of that is fun. I love the idea of entertaining. I do not like the idea of cooking. Don't want to. It's all stressful for me. I start to turn into a monster. None of that's fun for me. I just want to eat.
Yeah. No, my favorite part of hosting dinner parties is watching people eat my food and cooking and plating and so to get paid to do it is like, wait, I could have been doing this for years.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You do the thing that you love and it doesn't even feel like you're working. For me, it would feel like a lot of work. I barely want to feed myself, frankly. I just find it really annoying that I got to just keep eating. I'm like, why do I got to eat every day? It's just annoying.
We need to get you a meal prep service.
I know, clearly. But I don't like the meal prep services. I mean, I've tried them, so I don't really enjoy those either because they just don't feel as healthy as I know I can make it. I mean, and I can cook. I just don't enjoy it. That's the problem. So it's funny how we're all built differently, but I think what I love about what you're saying is that your business kind of transformed to where, and it took you where you needed to be almost serendipitously. Somebody asked for something and you're like, hey, I can do that. And then you found that actually was enjoyable for you. You started in one place, wound up somewhere else just by your clients asking you to do different things. And sometimes it's just the way the universe works, right? You don't know what the right thing is until somebody asks you to do it and you say, oh, this felt really good.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I'm just letting the universe, God, whatever, guide my path.
Awesome. I could totally see you on a TV show. I mean, I'm excited to see this. And when is this happening? And what's the timeline? What's all?
So I filmed a couple episodes. It's honestly just started in the last couple weeks. It's something I've been dreaming up for a while, and it feels like the right time. And now I'm lining up some people. Got to line you up.
Oh, yeah. If we want to see how somebody can't bake, that's the episode to watch.
You're going to be shocked. You're going to make some beautiful something or other. We'll
Oh my
figure
God. Yeah. And I want that captured on on TV that I
I'll
did it.
do. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So where will we be able to watch the show? Approximately when will we launch it? And I could always put it up on my, and
Yes.
mention it on the show. Whenever it's going to happen, I'll mention it on the show and then let people view it.
TBD, right now I'm learning to edit. So let me get over that hump. I'm trying to get 6 episodes done, and then they'll be going on my YouTube channel immediately. I have a couple people that have said they might be able to get things on, I think, Tubi and Roku.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, this show streams on Roku as well.
Yay, Roku.
Yeah. So, okay, that'd be so cool.
So,
I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. So it's right now it's in the process, and I feel like the more I talk about it, the more it's going to be less in the process and more on your screen. So
yeah. That's fabulous. And then what do you like to do in your free time other than feed people and make amazing confections and bread and food?
A lot, actually. Okay, I guess every Wednesday. So the one thing that no matter what, every week I have to do. Actually, there's 2. So yoga is something that I practice almost daily. I try and take a 1-hour class at least 5 days a week. It's important for my alignment, like in spirit, body, all of it. And then the other one is fire dancing. On Wednesdays, I go and I dance with fire. I have these big fans that have 5 big wicks on each side. And we're in San Diego. We're so lucky. So there's a group of us that I think at least 100 people get together every Wednesday. And I would say there's at least 100 of us. And
wow, that's actually a huge group. I want to go. I want to watch this one day for sure.
You're always invited. Just let me know.
Oh my God, I so have to see this. That is so cool. So how did you get started in this? That's what I'm curious about.
So I had a friend that was throwing a party. This was over a year ago now. And people kind of know me as like, Sara can find it. Sara can figure it out. Like, just if they don't know what to, like, they have an idea, just give it to Sara. So he comes to me and he goes, I need fire dancers for my party. And at the time I had no idea about this Wednesday group. I didn't know there's like some circuses and things. And I just started looking, and word of mouth got me to this group, and I found them, and I found this man performers, and the party was great. But I went to it once on a Wednesday and I was immediately hooked. And at the time my back was broken, so I could only be a voyeur. So I sat there watching them for about 6 months and then the second the doctor said I could dance, I had palm torches that a friend lent me that I did a dance with. And then I actually thought, well, this isn't enough. They were like just simple little torches. I was like, this isn't enough. So I decided that the next thing I was going to do was to eat it. So I have these long torches that I can eat fire with. I'm not as comfortable with it. I'm still getting into that. But my fans, they bring me alive. And I believe that I manifest with them. And I rarely miss a Wednesday. It really charges my soul. It's a beautiful community. Everyone is so kind and loving. And
That sounds so amazing. I just love it. I really want to go. I cannot wait. I'm going to definitely go. And because I did see fire dancers at a retreat I was at maybe last year or something, and it was really cool. And I just was in awe at how they were just, dancing with fire. I'm like, oh no, I feel like I totally get burnt, but obviously there's some skill. Yeah, obviously there's some skill involved, and they were doing the eating of the fire and all those things too. It was really, really neat to watch. So I would love to come watch you. That is just, I love it because it's unusual. People do a lot of things that are like, run of the mill, but this is very, very unusual. And I love that you're just comfortable being your authentic self and just like, this is what I like to do.
I really put my inner child first these days.
Oh, that's so important. Really, really is. You know, we get stuck in these mind frames of you have to do this, you got to do this, you got to hustle, you got to do this, you got to do that. Your to-do list has to be full. Your days have to be so full, or you're not productive, or you're this, that. There's so much stupidity that I think we could choose to listen to or not listen to. And frankly, I think our inner wisdom and our inner guidance is always the smartest thing you can ever listen to. I am a highly productive human being, but there are days that I literally don't want to do anything. Today was one of those days. I did not do anything. I read a book, I relaxed, I took a nap. I mean, I just didn't do anything. Nothing. And I used to feel guilty on those days. No, now I don't feel guilty at all. I mean, I was like, great. I woke up, I fed myself, I did read a book, and I did the show. I mean, that's plenty for the day.
That's huge.
But we have it in our minds to try to reach some sort of level of productivity that society tells us is good or not good. All those rules, they're meant to be rewritten. 100%. All of that BS is meant to be rewritten.
100%.
I feel like it's the old system of the dying patriarchy that has all of us hustling like idiots to just make a living. I mean, you know,
Generational trauma.
it used to be I remember what movie did I watch? I don't know. I saw it in a movie and they were like, back in the 80s, they just used to work 9 to 5. Like these days, we think 9 to 5 is too little. And people work from, 10-hour days. That's the norm now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Where do we fall into this ridiculous trap? And where did we lose our own power to have somebody else tell us that that's how much we want to work or should work? That's why I never could work for anybody. I never worked for anybody, and I don't think I ever will.
You've never done it?
Mm-mm.
Queen, good for you.
Well, I mean, let me reiterate. When I was 14, I did because
right, but like as an adult.
Yeah, as an adult, no, because I went straight from college to medical school and then medical school straight into my own practice and built businesses from there, not even knowing what the heck I was doing. I didn't know anything about running a business, but you know what I did know? I watched other practices and I interviewed with a lot of practices. And I think I might have told this story on maybe a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. So apologize if you guys have heard this before. But bottom line was I watched how all these practices were, run, and something didn't feel good about it to me. Like people didn't look happy. The employees looked angry. And I thought, I don't want that. I mean, I'm going to be going there every day and then these people are angry. I didn't like that. So finally I found a practice that, the people looked happy and I was like, okay, this would work. This could work. So I waited for the offer and the offer was so low. It was so ridiculous that I couldn't believe that I went to, 4 years of medical school and the 6 years of a surgical residency to get offered that much. So I said, screw it, I'm going out on my own. And I went out on my own and I quadrupled what they offered me my first year.
I love it.
Yeah. I didn't know how to run a business. I mean, nobody taught me how to do that, but I figured it out. We all can do it. I mean, I'm not special. I just, I do have some business knack, I think, and I found it interesting. So I read a lot and I learned a lot, but we all can do it.
We can all do it, but you are special because most people aren't going to actually do it.
I think I'm really brave. I just have a lot of cojones. I think I just kind of do stuff.
Right, that makes you special.
Like I just do stuff.
Let's not undermine that.
But the reality is, if we have the courage to follow our gut and our heart, and we just have the faith in ourselves, truly, we all can do it. I'm sorry, I really do believe that. I mean, I just think that I just do things because I can't. I think I just did it because I couldn't stand the alternative. The alternative looked so bad to me and not comfortable to me. And I think that's where the difference lies. I think somebody else might look at the alternative and feel that it feels comfortable to them. But it feels very uncomfortable to me to do that. So then I'm just like, well, I'll choose the lesser of two evils. This is also uncomfortable, but I think we'll go with this route.
Not getting that paycheck and that insurance and whatever it is scares a lot of people. They don't even realize that they could be doing better or more or whatever. Like, it's just
Limiting beliefs, right? We all have them, so we have to dismantle them. And the minute you believe you can do something different, it's your relationship also with what you believe in life. Like
yeah.
we think carbs are bad. Well, carbs aren't the enemy. Employment isn't bad. It's not bad for everybody. I have to say, I mean, I say this, I knew it was bad
No,
for
it's not.
me, but some people, that's really the way they're wired. And it probably really is the best thing for them. But the important thing is just really knowing you and knowing what you are and or not comfortable with. And then really having I think the gumption to just go for what you believe. I don't know. I mean, it sounds simple. It's not that simple, but
To believe in yourself.
yeah. Yeah. So I think that's huge. And that's what you did. And even with the broken back, you were hustling and, going to, networking events because it's so true. I mean, a lot of people just don't network and, your net worth is in your network. I connect people all the time because I grow my network all the time and I love knowing different people. It's really important. And really, why wouldn't you want to do it? Forget even from a business standpoint. I love the way that networking is just to meet people, get to know their story. I mean, that's how I met you at a networking event. And look, I mean, and not only do I have a friend, I have somebody that can bake cakes. Now I know I don't have to starve. No, I'm kidding. No, but seriously, just knowing somebody's story to me is such a delightful part of our life that we maybe neglect more than we should to really get to know another human being. And I am blessed because I get to do it on this show every week where I bring people on that I either don't know at all or know a little bit and get to know them really well.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's what networking is all about. But a lot of people, they just get your number and they don't follow up. I see that 99% of the time.
Yeah. No, and then I go to networking events where people, and everyone says this, I go to networking events and I get all these cards and then I have no idea. I get the Instagrams, I get the numbers, whatever it is. And then I don't know who anyone is anymore. And I laugh and I honestly, I put notes in my phone I'll put the name and then I'll be like, this is what you have to follow up about. And as specific as I need to, but honestly, it's hard to tell people I don't want what you do too. So I think that's a lot of it.
It is.
I understand.
It is, but I think it's kinder, really. I think it's much kinder than leading people on because then they won't waste their time. And I actually do that. I just tell people the truth. And I'm sorry, I just don't think it's a good fit. I don't think, I'm interested because I don't know, I don't have time to waste. And then it keeps everything aligned. But it is hard. And I think the other thing with the networking events is that I think it's important to really hone in on what you're trying to accomplish before you go. So if you should know why you're going before you go, whether it's, connections, whether it's just to meet people, whatever it is. If you have a little inkling of why you want to go, I think it allows it to be more precise who you interact with. That's just my 2 cents worth on that.
I gotta say, I have benefited from the scatterbrain networking, and I have benefited from the concise networking. And I started my business almost 2 years ago or whatever, and I had a friend that would drag me to everything, and I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Like I wasn't planning on starting it. I was planning on working for this other, it was like I really didn't know. And he would drag me and he would push me at people and go, "She's a baker." And they would go, "Where's your store? What do you do?" And I'd be like a deer in the headlights, like
I like this friend of yours. He's just like, "Here you go, do it."
And, honestly, some of the connections that I made during that deer in the headlights time, these turned into friendships that watched me grow. And then, like, one of them, I just did 800 desserts. You were there for that
Yeah.
event. That was someone that I met during that time.
Love it.
So as long as you're going and building relationships and not like what you said, have some idea, like, but relationship building, in my opinion, is the most important part of all of it.
Agreed.
Especially like linking to people that have nothing to do with you together. Like, it feels good. Be like, and I promise you it'll come back to help you in some way or shape. Like,
100%.
not why you should be doing it, but just being the matchmaker for people is a beautiful thing. And it's yeah, you know.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love doing that. I mean, if I meet people that I think can help each other, I put them together. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's really awesome. And you know, the other thing I think about networking, I actually don't even care what people do. I follow their energy. That's how we met.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just liked your energy. You like my energy. I'm like, I don't even know what she does, but I like her energy. So then we just got to talking. And that's how I operate anymore. I don't really even look at the titles or any of those things. I'm just like, if I like your energy, let's see what happens. And if not, I just will be on the other side of the room.
No, I mean, I figured out that energy thing pretty recently, like about a year ago. I really understood it. It clicked for me. I was like, oh my God, we are all energy, and we all, you know, be true to yourself and all that fun stuff.
Oh, it's interesting. So I've always been able to read energies since I was a kid. But that just freaked me out because I was like, you know, for example, when I was young, people would act a certain way or portray themselves to be a certain way. And yet I knew that wasn't right. I could feel the truth. And even from a very, very young age, like elementary school kind of age. And then I just thought I was crazy because everybody else thought those people were great, but something wasn't right about them to me. And then I got older and I guess I just ignored it. But the theme kept coming back over and over again. So now I really trust it. Now I just don't even question it. If I don't like somebody's energy, I'm just done. I don't even need to know why.
Exactly. No, it threw me my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it. I did know that I could read people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always, maybe it's a Scorpio thing.
It might be. I don't know. But yeah, I think some of us are just more in tune with that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think once we accept who we are, it's funny how we start to even embrace our gifts even more. And for me, they're just expanding. The more that I'm not just shy about it, I'm coming out of the woo-woo closet.
Yay!
You know, on screen in front of all
with you. Coming with you.
Yeah. You know, I'm like, I don't know who I saw. So I was watching somebody who said, you got to come out of the woo-woo closet. And I was like, okay, I guess it's time for me to come out of the woo-woo closet. But yes, I'm very deeply spiritual and very much into energies. I see people's auras. I know the things that they don't say. And I'm like, well, you know, it's a gift and a curse all at the same time. You know, meanwhile, people are talking about somebody and they're like, oh, I love that person. I'm like, just sitting still, saying nothing because I just feel something creepy and I don't know why.
Yeah. No, someone said something the other day. Oh, isn't she so cute? After someone said something that I was like, oh, that was so fake. And I was like,
yeah. The world has changed because before those fake things were okay. But as we're stepping into this new era in our lives and on this planet, I feel that it's really becoming very important to be very authentic and genuine. I believe that's why sales is such an ugly word for most people, because the word sales just implies disingenuousness.
yeah.
But frankly, I mean, I was in my practice, I guess, selling, but I just told people what I did and they just wanted it. So I don't know. I didn't really consider it selling. So I truly believe that there is a way I wouldn't even call it selling. I feel like it's just positioning what you do in the light that you want to position it. If they want it, great. If they don't want it, it's not aligned, and that's great too.
Well, that was a beautiful freaking thing to realize, is that like, if someone can't afford me, that's fine. They can go like, I don't have to bend over backwards to figure out a solution to the fact that you can't
Right.
afford me. Like, that's not my problem. Or that
Exactly.
if someone comes to me and they're like, well, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and that's not something I believe in, we're not aligned. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm, I don't know. I'm not going to
No, it's huge.
change
That's actually a huge
labor
thing.
combinations, but
Well, what you're saying goes way deeper than what the superficial version of it is.
yeah.
What really it is that women have an underlying worth wound for in general. So I would say most men, and I trust me, every time I say this, I have to preface this with I love men. I really love men. I have 2 sons. Most of my friends are men. I
No,
love
go
men.
ahead.
No, and no issue with that. But in this world, if a man says it, it's usually okay, and it's like that's it. Okay, nobody questions it. But we somehow negotiate with women about their worth and try to do this and that, and women, as a result, usually just start to figure out a way to make it worth. We're very nurturing. We want to help all the people, but the reality is, when it comes to business, we can't. You know, you're worth what you're worth. Your price is a certain way because you're using high quality ingredients. Yes, you could buy cheaper stuff, but you have a niche where you're only going to use the high quality ingredients.
I only will put my name on certain things. I
Yeah.
had a friend that asked me how much a charcuterie situation would be for a party. I gave them a price, and then they came back with, "What if I bought the meats and cheeses?" And I was like, "You're cute." I'm
Yeah.
not putting my name on that. You're cute.
100%. 100%. You know, it's the same thing that I experienced when I had my med spa. People would say, "Oh, well, so and so down the street, we'll do it for this price." And I'm like,
Go
"Great,
to so and so.
go there," because I'm not going to do it for a lower price because I know the quality of my work, and you're going to look natural and not like anything was done, or you could look like whatever that looks like. That's up to you. But yeah. So we shouldn't ever really compromise our worth. I feel like as women, we are tempted more often than men to do that. I would say.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably a big thing that happens.
And a big lesson to learn. Like, no. No is a beautiful word.
No is a beautiful word, and boundaries are a beautiful thing, and we all should have them. I have to say that I've spent the last several years really perfecting my boundaries. And that doesn't mean that I'm mean or anything. It's just that my energy, I can't, I have to say no to a lot. I think I told you the other day, I say no to 98% of things. And it's only the 2% that gets in. Why? Because I value my alone time and I value my own energy, frequency, and space. And so the people I spend time with are truly valuable to me. I don't go to just everything and anything. And, that's just the way I am. That wasn't the old version of me. I used to go everywhere and do things all the time.
Yeah. No, yes to everything. Like, and I honestly, I feel blessed that I'm able to say no to so much. Like,
100%. I cannot believe we're running out of time. I looked at the time and I go, oh my God. Okay. So I want to stop you because I
okay,
want
yeah.
you to tell us about this contest. Okay. So
Oh, thank you.
yes, I was like, Sarah, and I hope I'm worried about switching screens because I don't know if you can hear me, but let me talk about it before, and then I'll just put
Okay.
the QR code up. That way, if for some reason it got silent, it's okay. So Sarah is in a contest, and tell us about the contest, and then I'll put the screen up just in
Thank
case we
you.
lose sound.
So there's this contest called Favorite Chef, and you can find the link on the screen, also on my Instagram or my website.
Oh, let me just put that up.
And there is $25,000 and a article in Food and Home magazine up for grabs in this one, and I'm very excited. So please vote for me. It is free to vote every day. If you want to donate, it does go to a good cause, and I get even more votes. So I'm not going to say no to that. But yes, no, I seem to be first. We've beat out something like 90,000 people so far, and there's a few groups left, and I'm first in one of them, and we want to keep it that way. So
I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to put it on this. Appreciate it. All right. Could you actually hear me during that one? You could not hear me? Oh my goodness. Well, I hope everybody heard me. All right. I was like, no more switching screens today. I don't know what's going on. But
But it was
anyway,
very pretty. So
at least they knew what to do because we talked about it ahead of time. So thank goodness. But
thank you.
I am so grateful to have you on here. I wish you the best of luck in that competition. I want you to win and be first place. And I'm like, yes. So we're going to be rooting for you behind the scenes.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm excited. This is
Super exciting. So, well, thank you so much for sharing everything. I have a newfound understanding of sourdough, which I had no idea. So I'm super excited about that.
Thank you for everything. This was so much fun. I'm honored and appreciate being on here. So.
Oh, trust me, I'm so glad to have you, and I can't wait to be on your show. So me on your show will prove that somebody who can't bake, you can help them bake. So that's going to be awesome.
We got this.
Well, have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't know what is going on with switching screens, so I'm not switching screens anymore. So next week, I'm going to be interviewing Henry Cui, and he has created this amazing sleep device. So as an ENT surgeon, I dealt with sleep apnea a lot. So apparently this device helps people with sleep apnea get treated and sleep better without that horrible machine. So I cannot wait to get him on screen tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, next week. I'm all frazzled with the fact that the screen switching doesn't work. But anyway, you guys have a great week and cannot wait to see you guys next week for another episode of Gloves Off.